Hello, beautiful ladies. It's Sona from Adelaide, and I'm coming to you live. I help women with IBS and other gut issues to alleviate their painful and embarrassing symptoms through the powerful principles of Ayurveda. If you're joining me live, I'd love to see a hashtag live in the comments. If you're watching this later, please pop in a hashtag um, replay in the comments, and please feel free to ask questions or comments. So, as you can see from the topic today, I want to give you three real life suggestions and tips that you can take home and apply in your life straight away if you're having digestive issues. But let's first get into what I mean by digestive issues, because the more I learn about this, the more I realize that people don't really understand what gut health and digestive issues could mean. So, if you have any, if you know that you have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have any other gut health issues, so this includes things like bloating, digestive issues, pain, gas, flatulence, all those embarrassing things we don't want to talk about, they're all gut health issues. If you have constipation, if you have loose stools, if you have irregular bowels, again, embarrassing, we don't want to talk about it, but yes, they are definitely gut issues. Um, and really interestingly, even if you have food that sits there and doesn't get digested, if you don't feel hungry, if you have a meal and you feel really heavy and sluggish after a meal, that's another symptom of having digestive issues too. These are the more common and obvious ones that we know of. They're the ones that we can look at of when we have them or we feel them, we go, oh, maybe I have something going on in the gut. But really interestingly, I'm seeing more and more clients who think they don't have digestive issues, but they all come down to digestive issues. So I'm going to give you a few examples. So, not being able to sleep properly or having irregular sleep. Do you know that that's also connected to your digestion? It's a really important one. So, in Ayurveda, we have the concept of doshas and imbalance and elements, and I won't get into that in this video. But basically, when we have food that doesn't get digested properly, that doesn't get metabolized, it can put an element or a part of our body out of balance. And that's what causes things like not being able to sleep, insomnia, anxiety, even things like dizziness and vertigo can be caused by that. So all of those things are come back to, again, digestive issues, which is why it's so incredible that by improving our digestion, we can actually improve the symptoms that are sort of still there in the background, but maybe we don't pay enough notice to them because they're just niggly or they're minor, or we are more concerned with other issues that bother us. Another really interesting one is also when we feel like we have brain fog or we feel moody, when we could even feel a little bit heavy, or, just don't feel like doing anything, a little bit depressed, a little bit low. That's also connected to the gut. Isn't it amazing? Um, the gut brain connection is real. If you know about it, put a hashtag gut brain. If you don't know about it, I highly encourage you to look it up because it's incredible. It is a real thing, and it's amazing because Ayurveda has known about it for thousands of years, and everything in Ayurveda is designed around gut health. That's the first thing I look at when I work one-on-one with my clients, is to see what's happening with the gut health. How is the food being digested? What's happening with it? So today, I want to give you 3 practical tips you can take away into your daily life to improve your gut health. If you have any of those issues that I mentioned, or any of the ones that I didn't mention as well, because there's so many of them, right? You can take these 3 tips. So what's the first one? The first one is actually really important. And in Australia, we're coming up to summer. So a lot of people will be making these mistakes over summer. And this is to actually having something very cold with your meal. So a glass of iced water, a cold drink, an ice cream, an acai bowl, all of these things, they're very cold in nature. So as you know, our body works at a certain temperature. Our gut works at a certain temperature. And for our body to be able to produce the digestive enzymes. There's an optimum temperature. Now, when we eat or drink something very cold, especially very close to a meal or with a meal, it drops the temperature of our gut by a couple of degrees. And when that happens, it basically suppresses the production of the enzymes that are needed to digest the food we've just eaten. So what happens? So you've had a glass of really nice cold water because it was a really hot sunny day. You came back, you had a glass of cold water or two glasses of cold water, and you think you're doing the right thing because you are hydrating and you're having lots of water. And then you sit down and you have your meal straight after or within 5 minutes of that or whatever it is. But what's happening is that you've dropped the temperature in your gut. Now, the food that you're eating in is actually going to take a lot longer to get digested because the enzymes are not being released properly. And depending on how heavy this meal is, what's the quality of the meal, if the meal is also cold or heavy, then that food might potentially sit there. It might potentially start causing you more issues like bloating and gas and mixing with everything else, and just really causing a lot of trouble because the food has not been able to be digested in the time frame it should have been digested. So I would really encourage you all to step away from drinking cold water. And you'll often see this in a lot of traditional cultures, like they'll drink a little bit of hot water or hot tea with the food. And I'd love to know if this happens in your culture where you would have a little bit of hot water with your meal, because it's really important to do this. Now, in Australia, as I said, we're coming into summer, so it becomes a little bit harder for a lot of people, but I really encourage that. And in the Northern Hemisphere with our friends from Europe and America and all of that, we're heading into the cold season, so it's actually much easier to do that. But again, you don't want to drink too much water, so just half a cup of hot water with your meals will really help to improve your digestion. If you already do this, I would love to know. Please drop a comment and I'd love to know. Now, the second one, we have spoken about this briefly once before, but is actually to eat mindfully. So be very present with your food. Be fully with it. Use all your senses when you eat. Smell your food, taste your food, look at your food, eat it in a beautiful environment, and eat really mindfully. Again, it goes back to that digestion and the digestive process. When our body anticipates the food, when we look at it, we pick it up, we smell it, we look at it, it looks great, it looks appetizing, or it's something we enjoy eating, our body starts preparing for it. The digestive enzymes get released. So when we eventually eat the food, we actually digest it much, much better. Now, the third thing is again related to the same eating mindfully, but it's actually to chew your food. Chew it really well because chewing and the mouth is the first step of digestion. Really chewing the food to breaking it down really well, because when we break down the food, the surface area increases. When the surface area increases, as you can imagine, we eat the food, the enzymes and everything else can work on the food much better. So really chew your food. So there were 3 tips, just reminding you again: eat mindfully, be very present, use all your senses when you eat, chew your food really, really well when you eat, and avoid cold water, cold drinks, or anything cold with your meal or very close to a meal, because it will affect the digestive process of your food. So I'd love to know if you already knew any of this, or if any of this information is new. If you're going to try it out, I'm really inviting you to try these things out. And I'd love some feedback on this. So thank you so much for watching. And as you know, I work one-on-one with my clients. And if you'd like to dive deeper into helping resolve any of your digestive or health issues, please feel free to book our one-on-one call with me. And I'm dropping the connection call link in the comments below. It's a free call where we chat and we get to know each other, and we get to know if we can will be a good fit to work together. And you'll also walk away with some great tips in that call as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and have a beautiful morning, day, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you are.